all-knowing and all-powerful, starting with the elderly wolf uncle chapter 75. Smash it down, and then, rumble, the wind swept wildly, and everything around was rolled up. Endless smoke rises and rolls. But he saw an extremely slender little hand that was relatively nasty to the fist, and easily blocked his punch. Roar. Abomination suddenly became extremely angry, roaring, and the muscles of his whole body suddenly swelled, bursting out with full strength. It's a pity that no matter how much he exerts his strength, the fist in front of him can't advance by half a point. Abomination. Too weak. Chen Tian raised his hand and pressed the fist in front of him, shook his head and commented indifferently. Combat detected, rewarded, superpower, abomination. Then, the cold prompt in my mind sounded at this time. The copy ability successfully copies the opponent's superpower. Click, click. In Chen Tian's body, there was a crackling sound, and the muscles on his body swelled slightly in a small circle. After all, now he has the super plus the superpower of Uncle Wolf as the base. The superpower of abomination did not give him a leap of improvement. But Chen Tian estimated it. This ability replication also brought a 1/3 increase in his overall strength, which was not bad. And the opposite. Abomination fell into a rage after hearing Chen Tian's words. You said I, weak? It roared madly, and terrifying sound waves spread out from its throat like substance. With the other hand, he directly held the street lamp on the side, and suddenly exerted force, and the entire street lamp was uprooted. Next second, Abomination directly raised the street lamp in his hand, and the hideous muscles of his whole body suddenly jumped at this moment, smashing towards Chen Tian. Then, Chen Tian looked at the street lamp that was getting closer and closer, his expression was calm, and his eyes were unwavering. There didn't seem to be any pressure felt. Then, the hand pressed on the Abomination fist pushed forward. Rumble. Abomination didn't even have a chance to react, only felt a huge force coming from his fist down his arm. That huge force, powerful, turbulent, unable to resist. It's as if you've hit a steel wall that can't be shaken at all. The entire huge body of the behemoth was actually pushed out of an extremely long distance that it could not control. Washed down huge houses. For a while, the surrounding ground trembled. Endless dust mist churning, spreading. At this time, one house after another collapsed. Look at this scene. Tony Stark's shock in his heart was even more incomparable. The expression under the steel mask was already a little uncontrollable, with a bit of a dull feeling. What is the origin of this Chen? What kind of power can there be in such a small body? He secretly exclaimed in his heart. Just a push that seems to be understated 2.2 rights, directly blasted such a big guy away. The other side. In the sky, General Ross, who had been in the helicopter and paid attention to the ground, had a flickering look and a complicated expression. The whole person fell into silence. The super soldier that the military has studied for so long is nothing compared to this teenager. How exactly did he do it? And in SHIELD headquarters. Nick Fury stared at the screen, his expression even more gloomy. Although he had already predicted in his heart before, this Chen Tian's power must have surpassed his previous performance. However, after seeing that the other party was able to fight so easily, and even suppress it, such a huge genetic monster, Nick Fury still felt a lot of pressure. It seems that the plan to deal with Chen Tian still needs to be improved a little. He suddenly fell into deep thought, and his eyes became more and more gloomy. If there is really no other way, then only. Just when everyone saw Chen Tian's performance, they all had their thoughts. You, strong. The Hulk, who had been smashed into the ruins by Abomination before, slowly crawled out of the ruins. Chen Tian's performance just now was also seen by him. So after coming out, the Hulk's gaze towards Chen Tian was full of excitement. Roar, he roared, an excited smile on his green face. Next second, Hulk roared, and actually took a direct step and rushed towards Chen Tian. On the two huge thighs, there are huge muscles with hideous knots. Every step that fell, a deep pit would be stepped on the already shattered ground, and the ground would tremble. The Hulk stared at Chen Tian, and his mouth let out a roar full of fighting intent. It's getting faster and faster. Both fists have been raised, aiming and smashing towards the opponent's head. Chapter 67, Get Hulk Bloodline. Chen Tian's terrifying strength. Shredded Abomination. Roar. The Hulk roared deep in his throat, and in an instant, he had already arrived in front of Chen Tian. All the muscles swelled and bounced, bursting with extraordinary strength. A pair of giant fists had already been raised high and smashed down again. Between all movements, a strong howling wind can be brought up, and endless air currents can flow chaotically. Full of oppression, however, Chen Tian stood in place, feeling the powerful air pressure coming to the surface. His face did not move. Seeing the Hulk's fist getting bigger and bigger in his eyes, he was overjoyed. Combat detected, rewarded, super speed, Hulk. Combat detected, rewarded, superpower, Hulk. When the copy ability took effect, an icy voice echoed back and forth in my mind. Meanwhile, Chen Tian felt the power in his body and was increasing wildly. The forces that had been copied from different sources were superimposed at this moment. In the depths of the body, there was an invisible energy, rushing at an extremely fast speed towards all corners of the body's internal organs, limbs and bones, penetrating in. Chen Tian is rapidly getting stronger. Suddenly, the muscles on the body swelled and tightened slightly. He could feel that his own strength had been greatly improved on the original basis, and the strength of his body was like a vast sea of stars. You can't see the edge at a glance.